How about a refreshing brain workout? If you're ready, let's start. A man walked into a room and saw 3 doors. The first one had a sign which read, "To the swamps." On the second door, there was a note, "Lion's Den." The third door didn't have any sign, but the man knew for sure where it led. How? It was the door he had entered through. You return from your lunch break and discover that someone has stolen $50 from your bag. There are 4 suspects: Mila, Henry, Jackson, and Victoria. When you ask them about the money, Mila replies she hasn't taken it. Henry says he's pretty sure Jackson's got the money. Jackson shouts, "No way! Henry's lying!" And Victoria claims Mila's telling the truth. Only one of these people isn't lying. Who's taken your money? It's Mila. She, Henry, and Victoria are lying, while Jackson's telling the truth. If anyone else had taken your $50, there would be more than one person telling the truth. Several sparrows landed on trees. One bird for one tree. But in this case, one of them didn't have a tree of its own. Then they regrouped, with 2 sparrows sitting on one tree. After this, one tree was left birdless. How many birds and trees were there? There were 4 sparrows and 3 trees. 3 famous detectives came to a cafe to discuss a tricky case. A waiter came up to them and asked, "Does everyone want coffee?" The first detective said, "I don't know." The second detective answered, "I don't know." And the third detective said, "Yeah." Why did he say no? All the detectives wanted to have coffee, but the first 2 couldn't know if it could be everyone's choice. If the first 2 detectives hadn't wanted coffee, they'd simply have said no. So when the third detective heard the replies of his colleagues, he figured out that both of them wanted coffee. And since he was also going to have a cup, he said yes. Look at this picture and try to figure out who is an alien in disguise. It's the guy in a yellow shirt. He's eating a banana, but he hasn't peeled it before biting into it. He probably sees this fruit for the first time. You have an equation made of matchsticks. 6 plus 4 equals 4. Move just one matchstick to make it true. You need to take one matchstick from the plus sign and add it to 6 so that it makes 8. Then you'll have 8 minus 4 equals 4. Look at this picture. All these people seem to be very close, but who is the girl's husband? It's the guy on the right. He's the only one to have a wedding band on his finger. The next riddle to check how attentive you are. Who is her husband? It's the guy on the left. Look, here's his photo in the car. He's actually the owner of this vehicle. Can you figure out what's wrong here? These guys seem to be wearing smartwatches. Hey, detective, your next task is to understand where the criminal is hiding. Make sure to pay attention to every detail. The criminal is in House A. The car next to his house is parked in a way that makes it easier for the criminal to drive away as fast as possible. Can you figure out which of these people is in the greatest danger? It's this guy. This large icicle is about to fall right on his head. Is the person in the yellow car driving right or wrong? It's a wrong and very dangerous way of driving. The car is moving very slowly, and to overtake it, the next driver will have to maneuver from the leftmost lane to the right one. It can easily cause an accident. How can you get from 98 to 720 by just adding one letter? Add the letter X between 90 and 8. You'll get 90 times 8 equals 720. A wealthy businessman was traveling by a high-speed train. He had a suitcase full of cash on him. The train was moving through a mountainous area with numerous tunnels. After the train left one of the tunnels, the businessman noticed that his suitcase was missing. There were only 4 other passengers in the train car. Matthew said he had broken up with his girlfriend and didn't care about anything happening around. Joseph said that he'd bought his favorite author's novel at the station and had been engrossed in reading. Zoe said that she hadn't seen anything. Her eyes had been tearing, irritated by the smoke coming from the train. And Ellie claimed she had been napping with her sleeping mask on. So, can you figure out who took the businessman's suitcase? It was Zoe. Modern high-speed trains are electric and don't produce smoke. You've got a bag filled with oranges. You need to use these oranges to fill up 2 other bags of the same size. How can you do it? Put one empty bag into the other and fill them with oranges. Detective Marcus and another passerby became witnesses of a car accident. A man hit by a minivan was lying on the ground, unconscious. Marcus rushed to the nearest cafe to call an ambulance. When he got back, the passerby told him the man had turned onto his back, but hadn't come to his senses. After looking at the scene for a couple of seconds, the detective said, "You better return everything you've taken from this man." Why did he say so? When they saw the man at first, only one button was buttoned on his suit jacket, but now it's already 2 buttons. The passerby must have opened his jacket to look for the wallet and then buttoned it up incorrectly. Now, imagine you're lost in a forest on a freezing cold winter night. You realize that you have nothing to warm you up. There are 3 options: to stay where you are and call for help, to keep walking until you get out of the forest, and to go on, but take small breaks, sit on the snow, and cover yourself with some branches. What should you choose? If you stay in one place, you'll freeze in no time. Sitting on the snow during short breaks isn't a great idea either. Branches won't warm you up, and you may accidentally fall asleep and never wake up again. The only way to survive is to keep walking. Sarah invited her friend Alice, who was studying to become a police officer, to a party. It was organized by Sarah's friend Sean. Sarah was worried that there might be a thief at this party. Throughout the event, Alice was watching the guests attentively. At the end of the party, she told Sarah who the thief was. Have you figured it out too? It's the host, Sean. At the beginning of the party, one of his guests had a watch on his wrist. and this woman had a beautiful necklace. But at the end of the party, the watch is already on Sean's wrist, and the necklace is in that flower pot. See? Austin, a rich businessman, brought very important documents to his office, but he had a meeting and needed to leave for several hours. Austin asked his secretary to be super attentive. His competitors could try to break into his office to look at the documents. When he came back, his secretary told him everything had been quiet. But when the man looked around, he realized someone had been inside his office. The secretary eventually admitted having fallen asleep while Austin was away. How did the businessman understand someone had visited his office? The globe on his desk is now turned in the opposite direction. Look at these people attentively. Who does this dog belong to? The dog's owner is the guy in the middle. He's the only one who isn't trying to pet the animal. The owner of the restaurant, Vegan Paradise, called the police. Someone has attacked our chef. He was taken to a hospital several minutes ago. My rivals must have sent someone to ruin my business. When police officers came to the restaurant, they found out that 3 people had been in the staff area during the accident. The first cook was cutting onions when the chef was hurt. He told the police that tears had blurred his vision and he hadn't seen anything. The second cook was peeling shrimps when the accident happened. He said that he had been listening to music through his earphones, and he hadn't heard anything. The third person, a waitress, claimed she had been serving lemonade outside. Who's lying? The second cook attacked the chef. There can't be shrimps in a vegan restaurant. Eric was having lunch in a cafe. At one point, he went to the bathroom and left his smartphone on the table. When he came back, the phone was missing. Eric saw a man leaving the place and ran after him. Eric stopped him when the man was about to sit in a car and asked him to return the gadget, but the man claimed to know nothing about the phone. He said that he had just given his friends a lift to work, and he pointed at 2 men entering an office building. After hearing this, Eric immediately called the police. Why? The man lied. His car is a sports convertible with just 2 seats. It can't fit 3 men. The police got a call from the house of a wealthy man who didn't come back after going for a jog. When several officers arrived, they questioned the maid, the millionaire's wife, and his driver. The maid said, "When Mr. Jones went for a jog, he asked me to prepare his breakfast, and I immediately got down to work. But it's been 3 hours, and he hasn't returned yet." The wife was worried too. "I saw him in the morning, but he was in a hurry. We just greeted each other and I went to work." The driver told the police he'd been waiting for his boss in the car, looking through his social media. Who knows something about the millionaire's disappearance? The maid's lying. If she had cut the apples for breakfast 3 hours ago, they would have turned brown by now. Now, look at poor Dwight. Someone has pulled a paint bucket prank on him. Look at his colleagues and try to figure out who it was. It was definitely Jim. Look at his pants. There are paint stains there. Now, look at these girls. Who's going to be the first to escape? It's going to be the first girl. She's got long, beautiful nails. She's bound to have a file to look after them. It can help her cut the rope. One of these people on the train is hiding some treasure. Who can it be? It's this woman. She pretends to be pregnant, but her belly is suspiciously square. Look at these two girls. Who will be the first to escape? The one on the right. She hasn't touched her food because she uses her spoon to dig a tunnel. The girl on the right has managed to escape, but the tunnel splits into two smaller ones. One is swarming with snakes, and in the other, a fire is raging. What should she do? She should dig another tunnel above these two. She's got her spoon after all. David was a famous antique dealer in his town, but there were loads of people who envied him. The man had a beautiful young daughter called Liza. One evening, when the antiquarian was busy in his workshop, his phone rang. A man told him that they had David's daughter. If he wanted to see her again, he had to give his jewelry collection to the man waiting at the doors. David requested to talk to his daughter. He asked her just one question. "I have two hands, but I can't scratch myself. What am I?" When David heard no answer, he said, "It's not my daughter," and hung up. What's the answer to this riddle? Liza would know that her father was talking about a clock. It took 9 years to build the world's tallest skyscraper. Every next year, the builders managed to double its height. How many years did it take the skyscraper to reach half of its maximum height? Eight years. If the constructors doubled the building's height every year, the skyscraper was half of its final height a year before it was completed. Divide 30 by 1/2 and add 10. What will you get? The correct answer is 70. Most people divide 30 by 2, add 10, and get 25. But when you divide a number by a fraction, you should actually multiply it by the denominator, which is the number below the line. This way, 30 times 2 plus 10 equals 70. You find yourself in the middle of a forest with 3 paths in front of you. The first one is covered with burning hot coals. The second path is so cold that it feels like Antarctica right under your feet. And the third path is covered with sharp nails. Which path should you choose? The second path. All that ice is bound to be gone soon. It's too close to the hot coals. The police were looking for Kyle for 2 days. The guy went hiking and never came back. Finally, he was found. Someone had hit him on the head and left him lying in the bushes. Kyle only managed to say, "Friend," and lost consciousness. The police officers had 3 suspects, all of them Kyle's friends. Zachary said he'd spent these last days at work getting ready for a conference. Jeremy told the detectives he sprained his ankle and had been in bed for 4 days. And Billy explained he'd been to New York for business. He even showed the police officers his boarding pass. Who's responsible for the accident with Kyle? Billy showed the police just 1 boarding pass. Then how did he get back from New York? His story sounds fishy. Jordan was very late for a job interview, but when he drove up to the office building, he found out there were no free parking spaces. He decided to leave his car a bit further from the entrance. Oh no, even though there were several other vehicles in that area, parking was prohibited there. Luckily, Jordan came up with an idea and didn't get fined. What did he do? He took a parking ticket from another car and put it on his windshield. It looked as if he'd already been fined. Hey, I didn't say it was an honest solution. That day, famous chef Logan was going to have some very important guests in his restaurant. He was anxious because his future depended on how they would appreciate his food. Everything had to be perfect. There was only 1 hour left before the guests were supposed to arrive. And that's when Logan discovered someone had left ugly red handprints on his sparkling white jacket. He examined the stains. It was ketchup. Logan knew that some of the cooks didn't like him. Look at them and try to help the chef figure out who's guilty. There's a pair of gloves stained with something red in the trash can. The only person who isn't wearing any gloves is the cook on the left. He was the one to spoil Logan's uniform. Linda was in a cafe with her boyfriend, and their date wasn't going very well. At one point, they both got angry and started to argue. Suddenly, their waiter came up to the table and handed something to Linda. It was a note with a strangely written word. Lowercase t, uppercase r, lowercase o, uppercase u, lowercase b, lowercase l, lowercase e. Trouble? Linda was confused. What could it mean? Can you figure it out? It's a rebus puzzle. The waiter got worried and asked Linda, "Are you in trouble?"
Hey, Brightsiders! Good news! I've got a new brain workout for you. Let's see how alert and attentive you are today. First, some warm-up. Look at this image attentively and try to spot a teddy bear. Here it is, under the table. Great job! Now, find a gift box. It was tough. Here it is, all the way up there. Can you find a coffee cup in this picture? Oh, wow! Who would have thought? I didn't notice it. And you? Look at this picture attentively. According to his message, this guy seems to be missing his girlfriend. But can you figure out if he's cheating? Yep, unfortunately he is. Look at the napkin. There's a lipstick print on it. He must be with another girl. How about this girl? In her message, she's complaining about to her boyfriend that her evening is lonely. But is it? Pay attention to the shower. There's some guy in there. Duh! Look at this image attentively. Can you find 3 words hiding here? Here they are, ring, love, and rose. Now look at this robber. He seems to be in a museum, examining priceless exhibits. Can you figure out which one he's going to steal? Look, he doesn't have a knife on him to cut the painting out of its frame. And the necklace is protected by an alarm. So most likely, the thief will steal the golden goblet. You're on a camping trip with your friends. While they're putting up a tent in the middle of the forest, you decide to wander around and pick up some firewood. Soon, you notice that you've got lost only an hour later. It's getting dark. Suddenly, you see a tiny house. You knock on the door and see a magician. After listening to your story, the magician offers his help. I can give you one superpower, but you need to choose carefully. What do you need more? Night vision, super hearing, or the ability to run lightning fast? What should you pick? Being able to run very fast won't help you because you don't know where to run. Night vision will be useless because trees will prevent you from seeing your friends. Pick super hearing. It'll help you hear your friends calling you. They must be looking for you. Laura had always dreamed of having a dog. As soon as she started living on her own, she got herself an extremely expensive puppy. Once, she had to go on a business trip. She asked Sarah, her housekeeper, Annabelle, her cook, and Phoebe, her sister, to look after the pet. But when Laura came back, her pooch was gone, and all three women claimed they didn't know what happened. Look at them attentively. Who is lying? It's the cook. See? It's the puppy's collar in her pocket. Once, a man came to a police station. He said that he had been robbed on his way to the bank. He was carrying a briefcase with a big sum of money when a man who was wearing a black mask and gloves attacked him. The robber snatched the briefcase and ran away. The police officer listened to the man and asked him about a fresh cut on his right cheek. The man replied that it was from a silver ring the criminal had been wearing. After these words, the policeman immediately knew the man was lying. How did he realize that? Are you as attentive as the police officer to figure it out? The man couldn't know about the ring on the robber's finger since he claimed that the latter had been wearing gloves. Kevin was a doctor from Boston. Once, he asked his boss to let him attend a medical conference in France. The boss let Kevin go, but asked him to send a photo report as soon as he got to Europe. Several days later, the man received an email from Kevin that said, "Hello from France. That's me right now." After looking at the photo, the boss realized Kevin had lied to him. How did he figure it out? In the photo, there's a clock on the wall that shows exactly the same time as the clock in the boss's office. If Kevin was in Paris, the clock would show a big time difference. One guy snuck into a fruit store and wanted to steal some fruit. He took 4 bananas, 2 apples, a watermelon, and a pineapple. But suddenly, someone grabbed his hand. It was the store owner. He said, "I'll let you go if you solve my riddle. A pineapple and an apple cost $18. 3 apples cost $15. Half a watermelon and 2 bananas cost $12. So, how much do 4 bananas, a watermelon, 2 apples, and a pineapple cost?" The guy thought for a minute and said something. After that, the store owner let him go. What answer did the guy give? The guy said that the fruit cost $47. If 3 apples are $15, then 1 apple is $5. Knowing this, we can figure out that the cost of the pineapple, $18 minus $5 equals $13. And if half a watermelon and 2 bananas are $12, then a whole watermelon and 4 bananas cost $24. And if we sum it all up, we'll get $47. Newlyweds left for their honeymoon and asked their neighbor to look after their house. When they returned, the wife found out that she had lost all her expensive jewelry because of a power failure. The woman had hidden her jewelry in an unusual but supposedly safe place. The house wasn't burgled. The neighbor was an honest person. The jewelry got lost by accident. What happened? The wife had hid her jewelry in the freezer, in a bag with frozen food. After the power failure, all the food went bad. The kind-hearted neighbor decided to help and threw away all the bad food, together with the jewelry. Oliver was on his way to another city. It was late evening, and at some moment, the man felt tired and sleepy. He immediately stopped at the nearest hotel and went inside. While the receptionist was looking for an available room, Oliver saw a breakfast flyer with mouth-watering eggs on it. "Excuse me, could I have 4 fried eggs right now?" The receptionist wasn't sure about that. "Our cook bought 8 eggs in the morning. He broke 3 and fried 3. So, were there enough eggs left for Oliver? The cook broke 3 eggs and cooked them. It leaves us with 5 extra eggs, which should be more than enough for Oliver. The police arrived in response to Mrs. White's call. Someone had broken into her house and stolen a jewelry box. One of the police officers noticed that the lock hadn't been picked. He asked Mrs. White if she had given her key to anyone. She said, "I left the city for a few days and asked some of my neighbors to take care of my cats. I gave them my key." The police questioned the neighbors. Kate told them she had come every day to take care of the cats. Mark said he had come to water Mrs. White's plants. And Mary told the officers that she had come to borrow a blender from Mrs. White. She added that she often did it, and her neighbor knew about it. Can you figure out who was lying? Look at the cat's bowls. They're empty. And Kate also hasn't cleaned after Mrs. White's pets, so it doesn't look like she had been taking care of animals. Kate is lying. 2 planes took off at the same moment. They both had to fly across the Atlantic, but one plane departed from New York and headed for Paris, and the other left Paris and flew to New York. The first plane's speed was 650 miles per hour, and the other one was moving at a speed of 700 miles per hour. Which plane was closer to Paris when they met? They were both the same distance from Paris, since they met in the same place. Carol was invited to a Halloween party in an abandoned house. Her friends asked if she was up for a challenge, and she said yes. Soon enough, she was locked inside a room. In this room, there was 1 door and 3 light switches next to it. Behind the door was an empty closet with nothing but a light bulb. Her task was to figure out which switch controls the light bulb inside the closet. She could flip the switches in whatever way she wanted, but once she opened the door, she couldn't touch the switches anymore. After some minutes of thinking, she was able to get it right. How did Carol do it? Okay, let's go step by step. She flipped switch number 1 and waited for a few minutes. She flipped it again and then immediately flipped switch number 2. Then she opened the door and checked the light. There was no light, so she discovered that it wasn't switch number 2 that controlled it. So she decided to touch the bulb to test if it was hot or cold. If the bulb had been cold, that would have meant that switch number 3 controlled it. But the bulb was hot, so that meant that switch number 1 controlled it. To get back to the party, Carol had to solve another riddle. There was a 7-minute hourglass and a 4-minute hourglass in front of her. She needed to measure 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could she do it? First, she turned both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute glass emptied, there were still 3 minutes left on the other one. She flipped the 4-minute glass again. By the time the 7-minute glass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other glass. And by the time the 4-minute hourglass emptied again, there was 1 minute's worth of sand in the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there was 1 minute's worth of sand on the top of the glass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes elapsed. Phew, that took some work. Now take a look at this party scene. Everyone is dancing in their Halloween costumes and having a good time. You've been told that one of these people is a real vampire. Can you figure out who it is? Let's see. The guy on the left is drinking something red, but he has a shadow, so he can't be a real vampire. The second lady looks kind of creepy. It could be her, but if you look closely at the mirror on the wall, you'll see her reflection, so it can't be her. Ah, and we can also see the reflection of the fourth guy in the mirror. This only leaves one lady left. She must be the real vampire. Bobby called Susan to help him go ghost hunting in a creepy old hotel. Bobby's state-of-the-art equipment indicated that there was a strong paranormal activity going on there. But it looked like the ghost had a sense of humor and wanted to play hide and seek with them before it revealed itself. It led Bobby and Susan into a room with 4 doors. Each door had an inscription on it, with no clues to where the ghost might be hiding. The sign on door A says, "It's behind B or C." The sign behind door B says, "It's behind A or D." Door C says, "It's in here." And door D claims, "The ghost isn't here." Bobby and Susan looked very confused until a note appeared next to their feet saying, "3 of the inscriptions are false, and 1 is true." Can you guess which door led to the ghost? Let's see how this would work. If the ghost was behind door A, then both B and D would be true. But if it was behind door B, then both A and D would be true. If the ghost was behind door C, then A, C, and D are all true. But if the ghost was behind door D, then the statements on all the other doors were false, except for that on door B. This matched the rules, so it was behind door D. Josh was walking in a forest at night and came across an abandoned castle. He was curious, so he found his way in and started walking down a corridor. Pretty soon, he met 3 cloaked figures. When Josh asked who they were, they said they were 2 werewolves and 1 vampire. The trio told Josh he had made a bad choice coming inside the castle. They said they wouldn't let him leave unless Josh outsmarted them. Josh had to guess who the vampire was. The rules were that he was only allowed to ask the same question to each one of them. And the question couldn't be, "Are you a vampire?" After a few minutes of thinking, Josh asked, "What's your eye color?" He guessed who the vampire was and was allowed to leave the castle. Why did he ask that? And why did that question help him? Vampires don't have a reflection in the mirror and don't show up in photos. The true vampire probably wouldn't know what eye color they had. Eric was coming home from a night out. As he reached the gate of his apartment, he heard someone bawling. He looked around, but no one was there. Then he noticed something that scared him, and he shouted, "Ghosts! Ghosts! Someone help me!" Look at the image. Can you identify what Eric saw that scared him so much? The gate lamp isn't attached to the pole. It's floating in the air and somehow still shining bright. This isn't right. Eric calls his best friend, who also happens to be a renowned ghost hunter. His buddy Ray arrives, and his ghost detecting equipment starts beeping frantically. It leads them to a pool. When they arrive, they see a girl swimming there. Eric shouts, "Hey, why are you swimming in the pool so late at night? Here, let me help you get out." But Ray stops him saying, "Don't do that." Why did Ray do that? Look at the pool. The girl is swimming, but there is no movement in the water. She must be a ghost. When Ray tried to capture the ghost with his ghost machine, it immediately flew away. His detector is now showing that the ghost is hiding in the storage room. Take a look at these 3 paths and guess which one they have to take to get to the storage room. It's path C. It's the only one that will lead them there. Amy got lost in a forest and ran into a house in the middle of nowhere. She knocked to ask for help, and a witch answered. The witch invited Amy inside and offered her a cup of coffee. When Amy tried to leave, the witch wouldn't let her do that. She said Amy had to pass a memory test, and if she got everything correctly, then the witch would let her go. She showed Amy an old book, a pair of rusty earrings, and a bracelet. Take a look at these images and help Amy pick the correct version of every object the witch showed her. Yes, that was the book. These earrings look pretty much the same, but it's the one on the left. And, oh yeah, this one was certainly the correct bracelet. Finally, Amy got everything correctly, and the witch let her go. But as she was walking in the forest trying to find her way home, the witch appeared in front of her again, but this time it was another witch. Amy was confused because they looked pretty similar. Can you take a look at both witches and try to find their differences? Their shoes were of different colors. Oh, and the witch on the left has a mole that the other one doesn't. Good job! Today, I'm going to test your attention. During the whole video, you should stay alert and keep your eyes wide open. Do you think you're ready?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, let's start with a riddle about these two pretty ladies. I've heard a rumor that one of them isn't as young as she appears. She is 100 years old. But which one? It's the lady on the right. Take a look at her reflection in the mirror. It shows her true posture and true age. Callie is spending her vacation in the Maldives. She can choose one of these 3 bungalows, but unfortunately, each road has some danger. The first road is on fire. The second road is swarming with venomous snakes. And toxic waste is spilled all over the third road. Which way should Callie choose? She should choose the first road. Callie can put out the fire with seawater. There's plenty around. Look, there are 2 couples. Both of them seem pretty ordinary, but that's just at first sight. In fact, one of them is from another world. Which one? Of course, it's the couple on the left. Take a look at this guy's feet. They don't match his reflection. In a parallel universe, it was only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one ever worked or studied. Mrs. Relum came back home after a long and fun day at a club. Her 3 daughters were supposed to have fun too. She asked them what they had been doing. Hannah said, "I've been watching Netflix all day." Elle said, "I went to a party." Ava said, "I had lunch with a bunch of girls." Still, Mrs. Relum could tell that one of her daughters lied and actually spent all day studying. Who was it? It was Hannah. Look, there's an opened physics textbook and some notes under her bed. Ava had a sleepover with her friends, so no wonder that her room is a complete mess. Now she's going camping with her friends. She needs her boots, a flashlight, and a raincoat. Can you help her find them in the room? Yes, here they are. Great job! After Ava returns from her camping trip, she'll need to go to her art class. She needs her brushes, her paints, and a canvas. Can you help her find them? Here, here, and here. Did you manage to locate all of them? Elle is getting ready for a sleepover and can't find some things in her messy room too. She needs her pajamas, a laptop, and a Bluetooth speaker. Can you help her find them? Here they are. Did you find them all? Now Elle is getting ready to go to a club with some friends. She needs her dress, a makeup kit, and her wallet. Where are they? They're all right here. Okay, now I'll show you some photos. In each photo, there are hidden numbers from 1 to 9, except for 1. Your task is to find all numbers and identify which one is missing.
Yeah.
Here is the first one. Which number from 1 to 9 isn't in the photo? Correct. There is no number 3. Okay, now something a bit harder. A new photo, but the task is the same. Which number is missing? Now, there's no number 7. The next one, here it is. What do you say? This time, it's 9 that's missing. The task is getting harder, and the numbers aren't so easy to find anymore. But I believe you can do it, so go ahead. What do you say this time? There is no number 5. That's right. Okay, the last one. Concentrate and give me the right answer. Yes, number 8 isn't there. Great job! Alex is enjoying the sun in the backyard, and Meadow is mowing the lawn before joining him and drinking her milkshake. Which one of them is doing something stupid? Meadow. Her milkshake is standing in direct sunlight. Firstly, it'll have melted by the time she's free. Secondly, the milk can go bad, so she's likely to get a stomachache. Thomas and Abigail are going on a date. Abigail arrived half an hour earlier and went book hunting to a nearby mall. Thomas is running late, so he's in a hurry. Who is doing something wrong? Thomas. He's driving on the left side of the road. Ryan and Neva are camping. Ryan took a boat to cross the river, and Neva went to collect some sticks to make a fire. Who is in danger? Ryan. Look, the boat has a crack in it and starts getting filled with water. Asher and Haley are enjoying their vacations. Asher is on a beach and has fallen asleep. Haley is hiking in the mountains. Who is not smart? Asher. The sun is high in the sky, so it's around midday. He has fallen asleep, so he'll get a sunburn. See? He's already pink. William and Wendy are late for work. Who is doing something wrong? William. He's driving way above the speed limit. Sam found his best friend, Wendy, unconscious in her kitchen and immediately called the police. Here's what he had told them when the police arrived. She had been out of the city for a work trip and had just returned home. I was walking past her house with my dog and saw that the light was on. I peeked through the window and saw her lying here in the kitchen. So I entered the house. I had the key. Sam was taken to the police station as a suspect. Why? Sam said that he had been walking with his dog, but then, where is the animal? Aurora was spending her summer in the countryside. She loved taking long trips to the local forest alone. During one of her walks, she came across a huge mansion. It was obvious that no one lived there, so she entered it. It was dusty inside, but very beautiful, so she took some pictures and left. When Aurora came back home, she scrolled through her photos to pick the best of them to post on her social media. When she saw one of the photos, she got chills. Take a good look at the photo. Can you see what scared her so much? Aurora noticed a ghost right here. So the mansion is haunted. Aurora looked through her other photos and saw more ghosts. But how many? Help her count them. Here's the next photo. How many ghosts can you find? One, two, and three. There are 3 ghosts in this one. The next picture. Do you see any ghosts? There are just 2 ghosts here, but they are very well hidden. Have you found both? In the last photo, how many ghosts can you find? Look, there are 4 of them here. Mr. Johnson got in a car accident and spent a month in the hospital. He had amnesia and forgot some things. He didn't have any family. A month later, he finally returned home. He found his street, but then he realized he didn't remember which of the 2 houses was actually his house. Can you guess which house belongs to him? The light is on in this house, so someone must live there. As you remember, Mr. Johnson lives alone, so his house must be the other one, with dark windows. Mrs. Brown is a landlord of an apartment building with a no-pet policy. Not even fish are allowed. One night, she heard a dog barking somewhere on the floor above hers. The next day, she inspected 2 apartments. In which apartment does the dog live? It must be this one. Even though there's no dog in sight, the carpet is covered in dog hairs. Olivia is a travel blogger. Today, she's filming a trip to an ancient ruined city on a mountain. Can you spot anything odd? These ruins are ancient, but there's a dusty air conditioner hanging on the wall. The next day, Olivia goes to the local aquarium. She enters the hall to buy a ticket. Meanwhile, a magical portal opens on the roof, and 2 wizards get out of it. They jump into one of the aquariums and take the shape of some marine animals. Can you help Olivia figure out where the wizards are? These 2 creatures look pretty weird. Olivia goes hiking and meets a stranger at a campsite. His name is Mike. He's panicking and calling for help, while his wife Chloe is lying unconscious on the wet ground. Chloe and I went to a picnic. We set up a large awning, and then it started raining right away. Chloe stayed to make a fire, and I went to get some food. It started raining even more, and I hid under a big tree. When I came back, I found Chloe unconscious. Olivia examines the scene and immediately realizes that Mike is a liar. How did she know? If Mike and Chloe really set up the awning before the rain, the ground under it would be dry. But it's wet. Olivia goes to a restaurant with her sister Nina and her 3 close friends. They chat, laugh, and take lots of selfies. All of them leave at about 9 p.m. and go in different directions. In an hour, the police find Nina unconscious on the street. They question all the friends who attended the dinner in the restaurant, but all of them deny their guilt. After that, the police look through the pictures taken at the restaurant and identify the criminal right away, who attacked Nina. Nina tried to protect herself and broke Sheila's glasses. That's why Sheila had to put on another pair. Olivia goes to Alaska to make a documentary about this picturesque lake. She rents a cabin for a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, she has a very annoying neighbor, Glenda. They're arguing all the time. One day, Glenda calls the police and accuses Olivia of stealing her clothes from the rope. In the morning, I hung my clothes up, but then I saw Olivia folding the clothes and shoving them into her bag. The policeman immediately realizes that Glenda is lying. How? It's freezing outside. The clothes would have gotten frozen and too hard to be folded. Olivia enters the local cafeteria, orders lunch, and goes to wash her hands. After that, she returns and finds a dish with a lid on her table. Olivia removes the lid and freaks out. There's a rat inside. One of these three guys pranked her. Can you guess who? The guy on the right. There's a mousetrap behind him. Olivia is exploring the local ski resort and meets Rick. He's very upset. I'm having the most important competition in an hour, but my ski jumpsuit is gone. I took it off to go to the toilet and left it in the dressing room. Someone stole it. Olivia interrogates three suspects among Rick's rivals. Kyle says, I was too busy preparing my own equipment. I don't know who took your suit. Ryan says, I put on my ski suit at home. That's why I didn't visit the resort's dressing room today. I've just arrived, so I didn't see what happened. And finally, Dylan says, I've been drinking tea with friends on a balcony, and I think I saw one guy in your jumpsuit snowboarding on a mountain. Who's lying? Ryan. If he put on his ski suit at home and just arrived, why is he wearing a casual outfit? Olivia arrives at the airport to fly to Brazil. Three fans approach her and ask for a selfie. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? The first lady has many random decorations in her dreads, but maybe it's just her style. The third guy's outfit looks pretty outdated, but it also doesn't prove anything. Meanwhile, the second lady has an additional pair of eyes on her knees, so she's probably not from Earth. Olivia and the other passengers go through a security check. One of the suitcases seems very suspicious, and the guards interrogate its owner. Can you spot this luggage? This suitcase seems to belong to a lady, but why does she need just one male shoe? Probably to hide something forbidden. The plane takes off and Olivia falls asleep. She wakes up in an hour and finds out that her book is missing. She questions people nearby. Jake says, sorry, I was watching a movie. I'm not into books. Brandon says, well, I didn't see your book because I'm blind. And Diego says, I also took a nap, so I didn't see anything. But you can use my ebook if you will. One of them is lying. Can you guess who? Brandon. If he's really blind, why is he using a regular laptop? Finally, the stewardess announces dinner time. Olivia can choose one of these 4 lunchboxes, but unfortunately, she's allergic to all green vegetables and seafood. What box should she choose? First of all, let's exclude the first and the second boxes because they have seafood ingredients. And since Olivia is only allergic to green vegetables, but not fruits or herbs, the fourth option is the best because she can eat everything here. Olivia lands in Brazil and takes a train to get to her hotel. She takes a brief nap on the way. Then she wakes up and pulls out a mirror to check her makeup. Oh no! Someone drew a mustache on my face while I was sleeping! Olivia interrogates people nearby. Isabella says, I was listening to my music and looking at the window all along. I don't know who did it. Carlos says, look, lady, I'm a serious businessman. Why would I waste time on silly pranks? And Maria says, seems like the pranker used a permanent marker. Don't worry, I have super strong wet wipes to wash it off. Who pranked Olivia? Maria. Olivia didn't mention that she can't wash off the mustache. So how did Maria know that the marker was permanent? Also, take a look at her phone. She took a picture of Olivia sleeping. Olivia checks into the hotel. She enters her room and faces a cute surprise. Someone left a huge basket with food and flowers for her. The note says, for my favorite blogger. Olivia wants to know who her secret admirer is. So she interrogates 3 people in the lobby. The manager says, no one warned me about the gift basket. I don't know who sent it. The repairman says, sorry miss, I've been painting benches in the garden all day long, and I didn't enter the rooms. And the cleaning lady says, I entered your room in the morning to clean up before check-in. I didn't see any baskets. Who's the secret admirer? The repairman. He painted the benches yellow and got his hands dirty, and then he left a couple of yellowish fingerprints on the basket and the note. Tomorrow, Olivia is having an important podcast with another celebrity. Her assistant has prepared 2 versions of advertisement flyers. Can you spot 3 differences? Here they are. In the evening, Olivia goes to the beach to watch the sunset and have dinner. During her picnic, different guys are passing by the shore and make attempts to impress Olivia. Each of them claims to be the owner of this chic sports car that is parked nearby. Can you help Olivia spot the real owner among these 3 strangers? The car belongs to the first guy. He's holding one swimming fin in his hands. Meanwhile, the second one is in the car. Olivia goes to the local waterfalls. She asks one of the tourists to take her picture. He takes 2. Can you see 3 differences between them? Here they are.